Welcome to Wickerson Studios. I'm going to go farther into generative design at Wickerson Studios, and I'm going to draw from this model and this online forum that Anton Vasov has done as a tutorial at the Technical University of Darmstadt. And you need to watch these videos. There's 6 parts. What I'm going to do is in between the parts, I'm going to replicate the model, not for you. You'll have to do it on your own. You need to know a bit about Rhino. You'll have to have the basics of Grasshopper. You might learn some new things in the process of this, but the sole goal is to start generating models that can be made and tested through certain metrics. This one will be area, even though the second part of this video, B, is going to be my own kind of creative creation. So think about how wild my videos have been so far and how maybe not what you expect they've been. So what I'm going to do is show this one. I've got a little Rhino file where the Grasshopper ghosted form is the model, and there's a couple things, the park and the building next to it, that want to have data collected on how much of the shadow area is going to be on that form. And it doesn't really make too much, I mean, it sort of makes sense because you're looking at a 2D here, but you're doing a 3D form, so it has to change a bit. So what you need to work parametrically is you're going to have to generate a parametric model capable of taking multiple states. And that's exactly what he does. He uses the Chrysler building. He goes in, he uses a bunch of number sliders that you can kind of move around and change, and it changes the shadow. You can see how it influences how much is on the park, and it's dependent on a sun path and things like this. But basically, what you end up with is data going in and data coming out by the shear area. And the rest of it is just a model that handles that. What I hope to do is create, and you'll see run through it, show the slow method of using contours and how to get an area, whereas he does a much faster form later on. There's a little bit of merging because this model is specific to keeping the center column at least as high as the highest model. So he has to do a little bit of resorting here, so you'll learn something with the sort keys, which is always nice in remerging data, so you don't have a loop happening within Grasshopper, which is not possible. I'm not using ghpython or C# nodes or any custom nodes in this. He does create a very interesting sun path from sphere, and I think that's fairly interesting. You put it on here, you have the sphere, you have the cutting of that, you have the surface analysis of that on the top half, the UV being generated, and a vector analysis to what actually can be seen. He sets the sun in a certain direction so the shadow will fall on the park and on the building, the base area of the building. And then he does shadow analysis through some region unions, which are pretty fun. And he fixes a little problem with the fact that if there's no shadow on the park, then you're not getting any data. So he replaces any null data, if that is to happen, with 0 as an area. So really nice little fancy footwork around here. But get to that stage of generating that. Watch that video. Enjoy it. Get to know the tutor because he's pretty exciting. I enjoy watching his videos there, and I watch them at 0.75 speed. But my goal now is to take this and replicate it into something that is nonsensically, if I cut and paste that and pull that down, hopefully I can come in here and I can deactivate all of this and take that to disable and say, okay, how can we use this data in this type of analysis? Maybe changing up the sun path so it doesn't have to be of this world. Maybe I don't have to use square buildings. Maybe I don't have to use area for data. Maybe I can use other metrics, certainly volume for things. It might be interesting to think of where this can absolutely go if you think of input data and output data and measuring that. And then as we slowly get through this, we have built our model. We are going to set some metrics that are not going to be just area-based, and we're going to use some computational analysis of browse, sort, and filter and other things. Like I said, I'll try and use as much as my creative mind as I can, and we'll get through the workflow and make it evolutionary, looking to making some evolutionary operations. One day they're going to realize my spelling from math and arts is not that great, but I'm hopefully going to do something pretty fancy here. And so you want to be able to get to this stage. I'll do a little group here. And then you're going to want to manipulate and change and play with the script, kind of like Daniel Schiffman does within processing, and have something much more exciting than this. So with this said, I'm going to take this file and I'm going to save it as Wickerson Studios B as well. I'm going to start changing up the geometries and stay with the same type of logic, and hopefully I can have a wonderful, cool generative art in Grasshopper and its private forum site in Facebook that I'm starting to build. And I hope it becomes valuable to all the creative engineers, architects, programmers, designers, and artists that are out there. Thanks very much for watching. Forward.